Welcome to Racing Report. I'm Chris Weaver, joined today by Chase Elliott, fresh off of the Bristol Night Race a few days ago. Chase, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Like I said, we're fresh off that Bristol Night Race. Unfortunately, didn't end the way you would have liked it to. But talk about the race in general. How did you see all of that unfold from your driver's seat?
Yeah, there's a lot going on for sure. It was a busy race. It was honestly kind of hard to even keep up with from the driver's seat in a lot of ways. Like once green flag started, I mean, it was pretty much chaos at that point forward. Really hard to know where you were at, who you were racing. Especially being a lap down, at that point in time for us. So, yeah, man, it was just a lot going on. Nobody really saw that coming. Once we did, trying to adapt and make the most of it, it was, chaos, which I think is what they wanted. So they got it.
I called it a spectacle. I said it was a tire shredding spectacle, and it was something else to watch. And I think some teams adapted better to others. Would we like to do it like that again? Where do you think maybe the middle ground is on something like that?
I don't know. I mean, it was cool and fun. I just wonder how cool and fun it would be if you did it all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think you're trying to put a Band-Aid on a bigger problem with that. And I've never been a huge proponent of, having to manufacture excitement in general. Granted, I get it. I understand. I understand how it works, and entertainment, has value, and, competition has value. Being a competitor at heart, I want, just true competition and without the gimmicks. But I certainly understand that there's an element to, these promoters and track owners and operators that they want certain things. So, I don't know what the balance is. I think if you're going to have a race like that, I'd say the one thing I will say is I just wish that the driver could have a little more to do with how long a tire lived.
Right.
I felt like in the spring race of 24, you could have a pretty big impact on the tire and how quickly it came apart. Whereas this past weekend, it seemed like it was coming apart whether you did one thing or another. And I think that was a little frustrating. But maybe there's a place in there somewhere that you can find a happy spot, and if they get really smart with it, they can surprise us, like that'd be really cool. Like just not knowing whether it's going to be one way or the other, or maybe even change a tire overnight if you want to get crazy with it. So I don't know. We'll see.
I know for one thing, it's certainly not. It's certainly interesting to have a race like that, and it can get stale if things go the same every week to week. So that was a bit of a breath of fresh air in that sense, anyway. Let's talk a little bit about how your race ended. Unfortunately, got caught up in a deal. Part of the tire deal. Some guys are going faster, some guys are going slower, and I can't remember what part of that you were in at that point, but it all bottled up on you there quick.
It did, and I think I was at large fault for the crash itself. I felt like the sense of urgency to get to the bottom at that point in time was, if a man was going to have a say in how long his tire lived, he needed to be on the bottom at that juncture of the run.
For sure.
And they were lined up, down there on the bottom. Joey got position on me, fair and square. And at that point in time, I'm just looking for the next hole to get back down. There wasn't a big enough gap behind him to the two, so I thought, well, I'll just try to sneak in here, behind the two. I just felt like the move came with some risk, but I just felt like it was a risk that I needed to take at that point in time to have a shot to win the race. Otherwise, I was going to get lined up on around the bottom and was going to really be in a world of hurt. So, unfortunately, it worked out the way it did. But you make those decisions, and you try to learn from them, and I thought it was the right move at the right time, and obviously I was incorrect.
Well, I guess you had some ability to take some of those risks. You still were able to move on in the playoffs. You're headed to New Hampshire this weekend. How do you start the second round at New Hampshire to make this the round that moves you to the next round?
Yeah, I mean this is a really tough round. It historically always has been, and I think whoever makes it to the round of eight, really any of the eight have a chance to win the championship. Um, so yeah, this one's tough, and it's always been a lot of fun. But the tracks have changed this year, and I think that'll make it have a little bit of a different feel. But there will be no uh, having bad days, unless you win. If you get a win early, sure, you can go crash the next two if you want, right? But from a points perspective, by itself, there is no room for error. So, I think for us though, it's the mindset is to try and put yourself in position to win races, and that's just kind of where we're at. I think we have to go out and push and put ourselves in those positions to try and win. And if they work, then great. And if they don't, then I think that you did all you could to try and make that happen.
You certainly, when we go 2 weeks to the Roval, are no stranger to winning on a road course and at the Roval, but not really since the next gen car as much, if any, if I don't remember correctly. Sorry. But what do you do at the Roval? It's coming up. It's got the new turn was instituted last year, turn 7. It's tight. I rode it a few weeks ago in some test laps with some guys. How do you approach it this year if that ends up needing to be your go-to race to get to the next round, if you don't already have it locked up by then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to all three of them. But yeah, sure. I mean, the Roval has its challenges. It's been a good track for us. Probably, well, I shouldn't say that. It's been one of the better road courses for us in the next gen car. Certainly understand we haven't won in it, but we've had good enough pace there to win on more than one occasion. I would argue that's a fair argument. So, um, yeah, hopefully that's the case again. I think that's all you can really ask for this day and time is just to have enough pace to win, and put yourself in position, kind of have your name in the hat enough, and you'll get your turn. So that's kind of the name of the game nowadays. Everybody's pretty close, and you get those top 5 or 6 guys and throughout a race, and you give them the lead at the right time, they're probably gonna win. So you just want to be in the mix there to have a shot.
Do you feel like that since your win at Echo Park, that you guys have been consistent enough to keep making this run into the playoffs? How do you feel about your strengths right now? And do you have weaknesses you still need to work on?
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean, everyone always has weaknesses that you want to iron out, but Atlanta feels like 4 years ago. To me, it's this sport, any job. It's all based on things that have happened lately. Most of the time, certainly in the world of sports, at least. Um, and I think that's how you kind of look at it from a competitor's perspective too. So, yeah, for me, it's just about, hey, how did we perform on a racetrack that was similar to Gateway the last time, or I'm sorry, similar to Loudon,
Yeah.
the last time we ran, and that would be Gateway. And when I look at Gateway, I thought we had a respectable run, so that gives me some cautious optimism going up there to start it off. And um, yeah, man, we'll just take it a week at a time, try to get off to a good start. Hopefully, it goes well. Be nice to get a win early, and then be able to focus on whatever's next. But yeah, just take them as they come.
All righty. Chase Elliott, thanks for all your time. Chase Elliott's looking ahead to New Hampshire this weekend to get himself locked into the next round of the playoffs. They got New Hampshire, they got Kansas, they got the Roval. Pretty strong at all three. Chase, thanks for joining me.
You bet. Thank you.